Right on, Vlad. Hey guys, gals, friends, and pals, this is Paul, EastXTwitch, and welcome to another episode of Saturday Game School, where we learn about a different game every Saturday of the year. Tonight I'm joined on mic by Tyler.
Guys.
And we are playing Mechanic Battle for Nintendo Switch. It seems to be a Switch exclusive as far as I can tell, so that's kind of an interesting decision. Usually it would at least be on Steam, wouldn't it, Tyler?
You'd think.
It looks like you... No, I pulled the Joy-Cons off and they are able to control it. So, do you think it uses motion controls? Is that why it wasn't working with the Pro controller? Which is an official first-party controller.
I don't know.
They're not complicated controls. This may just be a bit of a janky game, Tyler.
That's the game, is you gotta fix the game. Take the wrench out and fix it like a mechanic.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's very meta. Okay. Yeah, we've got music now. No, it literally does not seem to support the Pro controller. That was the problem. It has to be played with Joy-Cons, even in TV mode. Why anyone would be that cheap during development, I can only imagine.
So wait, what was it? You got it?
Yeah.
What did you just say it was?
Tyler.
I was listening.
You're watching some girl in a hot tub.
You have
probably.
to play with Joy-Cons in TV mode.
Yes, you cannot play with a Pro controller. It's a rare game that doesn't support that type of control method. I mean,
That's
always...
kind of dumb.
Yeah, it's very dumb. Alright, let's buy this car. Push an A. Let me buy it. Owned. Now what? Okay. Let's just race it how it comes. Yep, Dark 6 called it. Be ready for some action. Track type and event. Okay.
Oh, she's cool. Jade. She's got a leather jacket.
Yeah, and even though this game is developed in Poland, she had dark skin, which you might not expect.
Oh yeah, Asian Bunny. We'll check out how she's doing.
You're very welcome, Jordan. Okay, reverse east side short.
She is streaming.
It's not important.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know if she's streaming. I don't think she is. No one go check.
Yeah, don't do that. Maybe I should have paid attention to what the buttons do. Oops. I don't happen to have out the little thing that you hook the Joy-Cons onto, so I'm playing with one in each hand. And that always feels awkward to me.
It is kind of awkward. Why is it called Mechanic Battle when it's like a racing game?
Because there is some serious mechanic stuff you can do, Tyler.
Is there?
Yeah, I
kind
just
of
jumped
like a
into
blended game.
Yeah, exactly. Which is cool. By the way, I knocked that car over. Seems like there's some decent physics.
Looks alright. I like these little top-down, I don't know, mini kart racers or whatever you'd want to call them. They're like little Hot Wheels or whatever.
Yeah.
But I like these kind of games.
A bit like Micro Machines.
Yeah.
I remember I reviewed the first Xbox One Micro Machines game, and I ended up not liking it, because I guess maybe, like, you can't see ahead of you far enough and such to play properly. That was my problem with it. It's like, it's all fast, but you barely have any field of view, so it's hard to stay on the track and all that. Yeah, it is a bit like Iron Man Off-Road Racing. That was a fun game. 3rd place out of 6, Tyler.
Man, you're so good.
Well,
Teach me how to drive.
Are you any good at racing games? I know you barely play them.
Little ones like this, I'd be alright at.
Okay, good.
I mean, this one isn't terribly authentic in regards to, like, racing, like Forza or Gran Turismo.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I do like the visuals. The car is, I mean, it's got decent physics, and the cars have a good level of detail for how we're able to see them. Oh, crap, no! Ah! That just screwed me up bad. I got stuck behind the sign. Maybe I'm not so good at racing games, Tyler. No, seriously, like, playing with the controller separate like this is throwing me off big time.
It's the little thingy. Although it is stupid that you can't just play with a Pro Controller.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to step away and find it because I keep it in a bag that I take places. I never need it because I always just play with the Pro. Well, 6th place. Ouch.
Oh, you're in 3rd.
I was, but then I got stuck on a sign and I had to back up, and that cost me the race. Fine, $80 subtracted due to ugly looking car. Wow, this game is serious about its mechanicness. Oh, that'd be fun. Low Sweet's describing a VR game. Okay, do we want to go into the garage? Let's look at it real quick. I hope it's not too terrible. Yeah, I liked the NES Micro Machines, the one that I played. No, okay, car parts. We got 2320. Upgrading my car is the key to victory. So see, Tyler, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 categories of things where you can improve the hardware. So what's going to give me better acceleration? Not that. I don't even know. Okay, just do the engine. Oh, but I don't have enough because they're 3,000. That one's only 2,000. I don't know what any of these options mean. Like, how it would affect the car. Look, street, fuel filter, and pressure regulator. 2,000.
Well, you can only buy one. You might as well buy the one that you can.
Okay, I hope the car got any better.
Oh yeah, I got that ECU street. That makes you go awesome.
I hope you're right. Customization. They did say my car was ugly. Can I paint it?
Ooh, that's a real beater.
So it is. There we go. That's better. Got rid of the rust color. Oh, but it costs money, and I don't have any money now.
You just bought the street.
Yeah. We'll worry about that later.
Yeah, you can turn lime green here in a little bit.
It's eating into my profits, though, Tyler.
I know, but you gotta look good.
Eventually. Let's try a different track. Royalport. Braumeister, thank you for resubscribing. We're glad you're here, my Australian friend, along with Jono. I'm glad Braumeister's back after you kept insulting him so furiously last week, Tyler.
Whatever. You're the one who always insults Australia.
No way. You brought up their...
It implies that all they have is scorpions and drunk people.
Well, definitely, actually, usually big spiders. But yeah, I totally forgot about the scorpions. That's a hostile environment. Hey, my car did get faster. And then I ran into a sign and it messed me all up. Uh-oh, that guy's faster than me. Well, as far as we know, Australia turns out a lot of really cool people, like Braumeister and Jono, so how about that? Plus
True.
Kylie Minogue.
And Chris Hemsworth.
Oh yeah, him too. I like him.
And
Kylie Minogue, though.
Wolverine.
Hugh Jackman.
And Tom Cruise's ex-wife.
Oh, really? Amber Heard?
Yes.
No, I don't think that's his ex-wife. I forget. Can you imagine Tom Cruise getting married to a woman?
He's been married to multiple women. I can easily imagine it.
But it's
Tom
just
Cruise
so weird.
is a hero.
Well, he's a cool guy, but I mean, can you imagine him like just doing, say, like what do they call it when you consecrate the marriage or whatever? Consummate, yeah. You know, when they make the king and the queen do that, like he wouldn't be able to do that with a human woman.
He'd pray to Xenu and then he'd be fine.
For real. And maybe he's picking women who are secretly agents of his species.
I actually don't think... I mean, I can't... There's one Tom Cruise movie I really like, Minority Report. But everything else he's in is kind of blah. I mean, I guess he's good in Tropic Thunder. but it's not really his style of movie.
True, it's an outlier for him. But what about Live, Die, Repeat, also known as Edge of Tomorrow?
I didn't watch it.
Or The Day After Tomorrow, or what is it? Wow, how have you not watched that, Tyler? It's a perfect movie for video game fans because it's very video game-like, and also great.
Eh.
I mean, you really should. First place, baby! That was fun. Legend is Tyrania's favorite. That's a very fun movie. You know, there's a lot of people who don't like Legend, but it's... I mean, there weren't that many fantasy movies back then, and also it's just a fun movie.
I fell asleep during Minority Report. Minority Report is awesome. It's a very good sci-fi movie.
It is. It's a good movie.
Yeah, it does have, like, in the middle, there's a little slow. There's a part where they could speed it up, but...
Gotcha.
I did watch some of Jack Reacher. I need to finish it. It was pretty good.
What about the TV series?
I haven't watched it.
I believe the TV series happens after, so it's called Jack Reacher.
Even reachier than the original.
Exactly. Okay, yeah, let's buy that. Whoa, no, not that. Green. Yeah. Okay, and now I've got 3,000. I could go buy something else. Upgrade? Yeah, low speed. I would like to upgrade my acceleration. The question is, which part actually does that?
Obviously, it's the car shop.
Well, look, you got engine, ECU. Don't even know
it's
what
engine.
that means. Okay. Is it? Yeah, it'll increase my speed and acceleration ever so slightly. So I guess I should, or I could save.
Oh yeah, look,
and
you
buy
can
a
just
better
see.
one.
Yeah, you don't have to really know what they do. You just look for the little green bars on the
Yeah, you're right.
screen.
So should
Not
I
really.
win another?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, shouldn't I win another race rather than buy the cheapest one? If I win one more race, I may be able to. I can afford the
I don't even
medium
think
or
you
the
can
best.
afford it. I think you have to buy the street one before you can get the sport one.
Oh, you're right. Dang it. Okay, fine. You were right. You have to buy them sequentially. That's grindy,
Yeah.
isn't it?
I mean, it really just makes it so like the sport would be 7,500 or whatever. Yeah, I mean it's not. I wouldn't say it's grindy per se because it seems like you get a lot of money from the races, but it makes it so you can't just like get the best one right away.
That is true.
Kind of pushing it to call this like mechanic. Like every car game kind of has upgrades in a very similar vein to that.
Yeah. Well, the publisher is Ultimate Games, and you know Ultimate Games made that Car Mechanic Simulator series, the one.
Oh,
where
the
it
one
is
we
hardcore.
were. So it is kind of like almost like they're trying to make it a spin-off of that.
Yeah, I guess they're trying to connect to that audience, but also it's a much friendlier alternative. Like, this is actually intuitive and simple and fun.
Yeah, well, yeah, this is much better for 99% of the gaming audience.
Yeah, I mean, that other game would be quite rewarding if you are a mechanic, but
Might be. It might be ridiculous.
it's true.
Elizabeth Nunez. She's such a ferocious driver up there in first.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't know if I can catch up with her. I'll
Watch
get
out,
some
that
of them.
Douglas McLean is on your tail.
Oh, man, what a jerk. Yeah, no, I mean, she's zoomed ahead of me. I can't see her at all.
Yeah.
That's with an upgrade.
Have you ever tried breaking your corners? Instead of
I...
just eating the fence and continuing on?
No, Tyler.
Oh, okay.
Why would I do that? I do try to sometimes let go of the accelerator.
Wow, she is demolishing you. Sometimes in racing games, if you can't keep a car in front of you in sight, like all of a sudden they just disappear in front of you. It's so infuriating.
You'll never see them again, yeah.
Exactly.
Outside of the
It's
screen.
weird.
Perhaps that is the case. Oh, crap. No. Okay, I'm gonna lose now. Thank you, me, for running
To that, obviously, totally stands out light pole.
Yeah, I was gonna say the color of it blends right in with the ground.
Yeah. Well, just like in real life, if you run into a pole, then you don't get to go anywhere else.
I suppose not, but it'd be nice if you could... great, now I ran into another thing. But it'd be nice if you could just knock it over.
Well,
If
look,
you're
they
going
use
fast enough,
those.
isn't that what would happen?
They use those silly little KMs to measure speed.
Kilometers? Isn't that how
Yep.
we say it? Kilometer, sorry. I don't want to say it wrong and offend our Australian and European friends.
They all say, put some kilos into it when they want people to drive fast.
Yes, very common expression.
Yes, it is.
Across the
Europe
ocean.
and Australia, yeah.
Ah, crap. Okay, that time I didn't hit the sign. You guys are really catching up to me now. 4th place. I wish I could at least come in 3rd, because I'm probably not going to get any money.
I think Jono knows. Jono is very aware of that saying.
You got to teach us more Australian slang, Joe. It's not
Yeah.
right that we only know a few things.
You finished the race when you said 4th place?
I just now finished.
Oh.
So I got 8,000. That's something. It's not good. So that puts me up to 1670. No, I'm gonna have to grind.
Like the 911 phone number on IT Crowd.
Yeah. Is it the
40
exact?
digits long. No.
Oh, okay. I forgot about that. It's been a while since I watched that show. I need to
Yeah.
show Brandy.
It's funny. It's hit and miss, but it can't. It's some real funny jokes.
Man, the episode where they sneak into the movie theater is just ridiculously funny. Didn't you not like that one? I forget.
I feel like
we talked about it.
I didn't, but I mean, it's just they just go so off the wall so quick in that show. It goes from like being an IT crowd to like working in an IT office to like he's pretending to be in a wheelchair and they're sneaking into a movie. It's like, what the heck? I thought this was about work. Like The Office at least took a few seasons before like every episode took place outside the office and was terrible.
Well, I think it's the 2nd season that we're talking about, if I remember right. The 1st season's like 6 episodes, maybe.
Well, it's British, so I think they probably both are. But yeah,
Yeah, little short seasons. Or series, as they call them, for no reason.
yeah, series is they do call them that.
Yeah, if they call seasons series, maybe Jono can tell us this. If they call seasons series, what do they call a series?
Maybe they call it a season.
That'd be wild. What's your favorite season? Why, the IT Crowd, of course. Let's go first, Bob Jones says. Yeah, I'm in first. That's cool. Nice. Pretty bad at the turning, but still. What does he say, Tyler? What does he say? What was it? I said, so as you may know, in England, in the UK or Europe, they call seasons of shows, they call them a series, like Doctor Who Series 1, the IT Crowd Series 2, etc., right? However, the word series here means it's the name of the show, like Doctor Who is a series. So what I want to know is what do they say instead of series for the series, like the overall show? Did I phrase that correctly, Tyler?
Yeah, as good as you can.
Yeah, as I was saying that, it occurred to me you could just call it a show. Well, the word show can mean a lot of different things, Like, for instance, a rock and roll show, a peep show, burlesque show. I got racy pretty quick, Tyler. Deadpool says his favorite season is the summer. Not mine. It's horrendously hot over here in Texas.
Yeah, I don't like summer. Summer's my least favorite season.
I do like being off for 2 months from work. That's really terrific. But in 2 weeks when I have to go back to work, it's going to be so hard.
You have to go back in 2 weeks?
Yeah, school doesn't start until the middle of August, but 1 or 2 weeks ahead of that, they make us go back for training and things like that.
That sucks.
Yeah. Thank you, Flying Kick. That's very positive of you. We need that kind of positivity around here because, some people, like, for instance, Tyler, are just negative nonstop all the time.
Right. Hate everything.
It's a real problem.
Like summer.
Alright, we just bought the next level of engine. Who has a lot of money to blow now? Oh, is it me because of working summer school? I've kind of blown through the extra money, but it was worth it. I mean, I bought that canopy for outside, Tyler, and it's so great.
Nice.
Yeah, if only it was comfortable to be outside, or if only I had someone to hang out with outside, like, and, you know, sip at mimosas or something, whatever you do on the patio. Anyway, let's go do a race.
Doesn't that help make it more comfortable outside?
It does, but it's still really humid, you know? But, like, at night, right now, it would probably be pretty comfy to go sit out there. Although the canopy wouldn't have anything to do with that. But I mean, we also bought, like, some patio chairs and a table. Those are good things, right? But no, yeah, I mean, like, if I have to step outside, at least the sun isn't immediately beating down on me. So, like, you know, we have a laundry shed, for instance. Part of the way we wouldn't be under the sun. I don't know, Tyler. I'm probably going to have friends over, like, say, in about 5 days or so. It's going to be a little while. Let me tell you what one of those friends did the last time he came over, Tyler. This friend of mine who is a fellow teacher, although not at the same school as me. Oh, wow, I messed that one up. Oh, no. Oh, my gosh, he just knocked me over. That was so rough.
Wow, right into it.
Yeah. So this friend of mine, we went to college together, by the way. That's where I met him. He was one of the very, you know, like I had to drive an hour to college, so it was very unusual for me to actually meet anyone from the same town as me. Anyway, so he came over last time we were watching a movie or something, and he just pulled out his vape device and started vaping right there across the room from us without asking or anything. Is that a thing that people do? Just vape in other people's homes without permission?
Oh, that's a good question. I think they think it's a vapor, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, in fairness, it did not soak into the furniture the way cigarette smoke would. You know, like what you deal with your bad smoking habit.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you guys in the audience think? Is that a faux pas or not? Because only time I've ever seen that. I mean, I work at a place where if anybody's vaping, they get in big trouble. But it's because all the kids want to do things that harm their bodies, you know?
Yeah, didn't most places outlaw vaping indoors?
I would think a lot of places have, but I don't know. That guy got in front of me. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't say anything when he did it because I was too taken aback, and also I didn't know what the standard etiquette is for that. But I mean, I'm glad he's not actually smoking because vaping is supposedly slightly better for you. Is it?
Yeah, I
actually
guess.
better?
I mean, I don't know. I suppose
It's less regulated.
Yeah, I mean that's not really better for you.
Yeah, so
It's been less studied and stuff too.
you're right. I'm totally blowing this race, all because I had a bad start, but also I keep messing up over and
You
over.
hit that wall every time.
Yeah, what's up with that? Well, this one has some sharp
get
turns, and I
good.
can't handle them.
Gotta use that brake button once in a while.
Yeah, or at least let off accelerator, right? I just want to play it arcade style, Tyler. I need some handling. Is that an offer, Bob Jones? Because you know my fiance's out of town for 2 weeks. Don't tell her I said that.
Hold on.
She's supposedly AFKing and watching or something. Just joking. Yeah, wow, that was a terrible race. But I still got $400, which is almost nothing. Let's not do that kind of race right now.
Why don't you do good in the next race?
Maybe I should, huh? Not a lot of people chimed in about the vaping thing.
A few people did.
Okay.
Yeah, they said,
Thank you, Low Sweet. He says he should have asked.
yeah. Most people are used to vaping. I don't think it matters anymore. Low Sweet says that's super rude, just like smoking. Should have asked.
Yeah, I mean, just because it's not going to ruin the furniture doesn't necessarily mean that it's still a good thing to do. Like, people don't want to smell it while you're doing it. And it makes gross sounds sometimes, and
I don't think I would, like, if I vaped, I wouldn't do it in someone else's house unless they also did it. They did it first.
it's good.
I don't know.
You're a very polite person. Despite what everyone says who knows you.
Thank you.
That's cool, Flying Kick. Yeah, I'm liking it better than I thought. See, we streamed another mechanic game, right? Car Mechanic Simulator 2 Pocket Edition, and it was impenetrable. It was just so complicated. You would need a guide to play if you don't understand real mechanical principles. But this is different. It's got fun racing. There's a decent amount of races to do, and you buy upgrades. I wonder why it's exclusive to Switch, though. Like, they should put this on Xbox and PlayStation 2.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Oh, no. Why am I going in
Maybe they just do one at a time.
My car just started going in reverse for no reason. Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah, if they do release an Xbox version, which this publisher does release a lot of Xbox games, and we'll certainly come back to it. Look, I know it looks like I'm not good, guys, but again, I'm playing kind of uncomfortably with the controller. Ah! And also talking. That's true dementia. Sorry, Tyler?
You stink.
Only because I don't vape. How about that? Then I would smell like cherries or something. Which, by the way, those flavors are picked to deliberately attract young people.
Well, I think everyone likes sweet flavored things. Most people like sweet flavored things, I should say.
That's true, most. Actually, I know this weirdo who doesn't like sweet fruits. Can you believe it?
Yeah, they're real fruits are gross, but cherry flavored vape doesn't taste like actual cherries. It tastes like cherry Jolly Rancher.
Actual cherries are delicious,
and that's
Tyler.
delicious. Oh, no, they're not.
That's a good way to put it. Look how positive Flying Kick is. He could do PR.
Yeah, a lot of people will vape the like THC liquid or whatever it is.
Yeah, is it just a way to get around marijuana laws, or?
No, it's still illegal. You wouldn't be able to get it legally in a state where recreational marijuana isn't legal.
Gotcha.
No, darker player. You'd only get arrested in public places. It's only illegal to smoke or vape in public places. You can do whatever you want in your own home.
Yeah.
Well, not whatever you want.
Speaking of things we do in our own home, Tyler, I understand that we watched a TV show, or you finished the TV show, or didn't we both got caught up and finished Miss Marvel on Disney Plus? That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, you really put that sentence together very well.
I'm telling you, this thing with having my hands separated messes with my brain.
See, Low Sweet knows that fake strawberry flavor is the best.
Better than cherry? I don't think so. Although that does come up in Stranger Things Season 3, your favorite season.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, there's a part where they have to buy ices for a Russian guy. They buy him an icy, he requested cherry, and they get strawberry. And then he's pretty fussy about it for a little while.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was actually funny and enjoyable. But let's finish talking about Miss Marvel before we get on to Stranger Things, Tyler.
You said a big word in the last episode?
Really? What'd she say?
Oh, I know what Bob's talking about. They say a big word at the end of the last episode. A significant word.
Oh, the M word, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's just talk about the episode itself. So, Miss Marvel, it's a 6-episode limited series on Disney Plus, right? Very stylish and well made. And I mentioned this in the newsletter, Tyler, but Miss Marvel is really strong thematically. Like, maybe the strongest out of all the Disney Plus shows. Like, that whole season is about community, like people looking out for each other in their community. Wouldn't you agree?
I would. I definitely agree with that.
And it's a nice concept because America, individualism is good in some ways, but it can be harmful, and I think we have a lot of Americans who are harmfully selfish, So.
Yeah, and Miss Marvel comes off as a little, like...
Didactic?
No, more like this is like a perfect world that wouldn't actually exist. Like, everyone's way too nice and friendly and stuff. Like, it'd be wonderful if it was like that. Ideally, yeah.
Yeah, her community is a pretty smoothly running machine.
Yeah. Yeah.
3,000.
It kind of gets a little eye rolly in the final episode.
Oh, to me it made me happy. It was just like really pleasant. Dementia, did you watch the whole series and you like Loki better, or you're just saying the series doesn't appeal to you? Suspension will improve my handling. Yeah, me too. I think, was it Chris Lowsweet who doesn't like Loki? Somebody I know doesn't like Loki, and I'm like, what are you... Oh no, it's Heaven Smile doesn't like Loki, and Loki is terrific.
Loki's cool.
I don't know where
It's
he's
a
going.
little messy at parts, but it's good. And I mean, it has Loki in it.
Loki's pretty great all on his own, but Owen Wilson's character is also a very fine character, and Sophie...
Yeah, I like him.
Did you like Sophie too?
Is that
That's
Loki?
Girl Loki.
She was okay.
Maybe she could have used more development or something, but I thought the actress was good.
It's weird having another Loki.
Well...
Only one Loki for Tyler.
They're getting all that stuff from the comics, you know.
Yeah.
So, I don't mind authenticity like that as long as it's something that doesn't bug me too much. Yeah, Satino Heat saying hi to Dementia, like a good, friendly viewer. We like that around here. Okay? Anyway, so what happens... Give me a spoiler-free version of what happens in the final episode of Miss Marvel, Tyler.
Well, the Department of Damage Control is trying to track down Miss Marvel as well as another guy, and so they kind of have to try to get away from them.
Yeah. And so there's kind of a climactic... Or there's a big battle in the school, like Kamala's high school. And there's
it's really stupid.
Really? You didn't like that stuff?
They shoot softballs at them.
Well, it was fun and lighthearted, but...
I don't know. I mean, I liked the series. The last episode was not great for me.
Huh.
Like, I like the ending of it with the other stuff, but yeah, it was like a 20-minute thing in the school that just didn't pan out or lead to anything useful at all. And then it got out in the street and there's more stuff. Yeah, it was for me.
Stupid light posts.
Yeah, childish. I mean, it is kind of a kids show. It's very...
Yeah, it's about teenagers.
It's the most kid-accessible Marvel show so far.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. But yeah, it did come off as like I was watching a Disney, tween teenager show.
It reminded me a little of Goonies
like
or something.
iCarly or something.
Yeah, or iCarly would be a good comparison. I mean, I don't mind that. I like some shows that are aimed at a teenage audience rather than adults. But I mean, like, the whole show is not necessarily that youthful. Just this particular segment was.
It's not. I mean, it's obviously still very kid-friendly for the most part. But yeah, not like this episode. It's not as bad. And even the episode right before it would probably bore a lot of younger viewers.
Yeah, because that was more historical.
It's like a history lesson version of a TV show. No, it was actually a pretty good episode.
Good, I'm glad, because I remember you didn't think it looked good in advance.
Nope, I didn't, but it turned out to be pretty good.
Well, so one thing that I would say is perhaps a slight negative... Oh my gosh. So somehow you get stuck in reverse, and then it takes a little while to get out of it. And, like, I'm not pushing any different buttons. And yeah, no,
that's weird.
That's so annoying. Follow the light. I know. I'm always hitting that pole, aren't I, Tyler?
Yeah. Or that barrel right in the middle. That costs pretty good.
Did indeed.
Yeah.
A complaint for me is that they kind of resolve a certain villain's story prior to the last episode. So then you're kind of left without man, I don't want to be very spoiler about it, but taking that character out, it's like it's not really replaced with another sufficiently evil character. How about that?
There's nothing remotely good about any of the villains in the show.
Maybe
the first set could have been better if they were actually fleshed out and made interesting.
Yes.
But they weren't. At all.
That is true. Yeah, it's one of those... There's a fair number of Marvel properties where they're just not interested in developing the villains.
Yeah.
It's all about the heroes to them.
Yep.
But But I mean, just from a threat level, you've got the more threatening villain not around in the last episode. I mean, that took away some of the tension for me, for sure.
Sure. Well, I mean, yeah, it's not. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know. I think the department of what they call damage control.
Yeah.
They're around a little bit in Spider-Man. Is that what it was?
Yeah, they showed, and was it both? I think they are mentioned or appear in 2 of the Spider-Man movies. Briefly.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, it feels like a thing that, like, if Iron Man, Tony Stark, was around, he would, like, want that to exist and to head up, right? And to, like, use it for good things. That, to me, they don't even come off as that evil, other than, like, the overtly evil woman who's the head of it. Like, got the actress with, like, the ugliest face of all time.
Yeah, she's shrewish, isn't she?
Yes. So is the other clandestine woman.
Oh yeah, her face is. But I mean, she's got a real Cruella de Vil look going.
Yes.
But again, like, there's never any question of whether or not Miss Marvel can handle damage control. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's probably part of what makes the episode not that good to me, is that it was, it's just like, okay, let's get over with this. I want to see how it ends, stuff like this. This is obviously, gonna play out the way you expect it to play out.
Yes, I would agree with that. I braked, Tyler, and it kept me from messing up that turn. Yay!
Nice job. So yeah, I mean, I like Miss Marvel. I think the last episode was my least favorite of it. I told you I liked the first of it, like the whole setup with the community and with the family and stuff. I would have been interested to see where it went without her getting superpowers.
Well, some good things happened this episode too, though. Wouldn't you agree?
The last few minutes were interesting.
Firstly, when they're outside of the school, Miss Marvel does some cool stuff that she may not have done before, or at least some cool stuff happens. Did you like that stuff?
It's okay. To me, her powers are really, like, weird and silly. Like, she's not like a hero that I would be like, oh, that's cool. It's more like, oh, she can walk on light and make her hands really big.
Yeah, it should have been longer.
I don't have a real affinity for her, like someone who maybe is familiar with her from the comics and stuff would.
The comics are so fun. Like, there's an issue where she's teamed up with Wolverine in the sewers, and it is just delightful. The way they bounce off each other, it's so funny, I mean, very, very good comic. But, yeah, I suppose and I mean, the actress, though, obviously, she's pretty terrific, and she's a real teenager.
Yeah, she's good. I liked her.
And, I mean, that's nice compared to, say, Stranger Things Season 4, which they're supposed to be freshmen in high school, but they're all, like, 18 or so.
They're supposed to be freshmen?
Yes, they are actually supposed to be freshmen. Yeah, the bad guys are seniors, but they're, like, 25-year-old looking dudes. Yeah. But, yeah, the main characters are...
freshmen.
Like, they all look so much older. It's like, why didn't you just move the time forward a little bit more?
Yeah,
I guess they really wanted to keep it in school.
Yeah, they look like college freshmen.
Agreed, yes. Darker Player, that's a good question. I haven't really looked over the shop in detail. Good question indeed. But I just bought the best quality of engine, so my car is getting better. Let's go back. Interestingly, when you're looking at a race, it says you won it whether or not you came in first place, because you just have to have come in the top 3. But I mean, like, it should differentiate between first place and second or third, don't you think?
Yes.
Because, I mean, come on, incentivize perfecting the levels.
People, replaying the level.
So, that's a drag. Yeah, of course the actor's aged, but you should adjust the story, the time period of the story. Just move it forward.
Well, they wanted to make sure it was still in the 80s, too.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's 1986. They still had breathing room there.
Could have made them juniors, you're saying.
Yeah, something like that, where at least it's like, okay, I can believe that those people are that old, maybe. But again, there's some bad guy sports guys, some senior sports guys in Season 4. And, like, the main guy, gosh, he sure looks 25 or older. And he has
Melrose Place style.
Yeah, or, like, the first Spider-Man movie, the first Sam Raimi one. You know?
Oh yeah,
all,
yeah.
all those people are way too old to be playing teenagers. But that guy, by the way, I mean, I guess you haven't watched season 4 yet, Tyler. That guy is so annoying. Every bit that he's in is annoying. Like, I can't stand him, and he sticks around way too long.
I don't know who you're talking about. Are you talking about Eddie?
He's the main sports guy. He's a bad guy. Eddie's not a bad guy.
I was like, I don't think Eddie's a bad guy.
Yeah,
I do not know who you're talking about.
Okay, well, at a certain point, something happens, and some of the sports guys take it on themselves to become antagonists to Eddie and the main characters to a lesser extent.
Must have happened in an episode. I saw like the first or second episode, and I saw the last 2 episodes of the first part of the season, and then I haven't seen the.
Why not just watch them in order, Tyler?
Cause someone else was watching them while I was over there.
Wasn't
but also, Stranger Things is a TV show for kids and girls.
I don't know about all that. This particular season has some pretty gruesome kills. Brandy actually complained about them, which is funny to me.
Yeah, well, it's like Twilight, or was that one with the vampires? Was Suki Stackhouse?
What?
True Blood.
Okay, haven't seen that. But oh yeah, I do hate Eddie's hair. Eddie has this goofy 80s hair, right? You know,
everyone has horrible hair in this season. Like they gave all the girls really bad perms and stuff, and
yeah, the mom,
guys have bad
Nancy's
perms.
Mom. Oh man. Yeah, and poor Eleven never looks good unless she has her head buzzed. She looks okay that way.
Nancy and Robin both look really bad too, compared to previous.
Yeah, Robin looks so much better in season 3.
Yeah.
My son claims that Robin was set up as a love interest for Steve, and then mid-season they changed because the actress complained or something. Have you heard anything about that?
I hadn't heard that, no.
I will point out, in season 3, when, not to be very spoilery, because again, season 3 has been out for 3 years now.
Yeah.
But yeah, when all this, they're like setting it up for them to get together, and then just all of a sudden, randomly, she doesn't like him, and it's like, she clearly liked him before, so it's not very organic, that change of pace. That was weird.
I don't remember too much from season 3.
Yeah, it's all fresh to me because we rushed through seasons 2 through 4 in a row.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true, Bob Jones. I agree with that. I mentioned in the newsletter, in season 4, there's a character, Tyler, one of the established characters, who goes through a lot of really terrible things, and it's like, I felt like that character didn't necessarily deserve to suffer so much. Like, I just felt sorry for...
Depended on.
Yeah, all the way to the end, you know? It's like, why is this character getting that? I don't know. So that was sad. But, I'm still looking forward to the next season. Although, the final episode being 2.5 hours long, instead of that, what they should have done is split up into 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. Well, the second to final episode is like 2 hours long, isn't it?
Yeah, the last few.
Like, why not make it like a 5 or 6 episode mini season that came out a couple months later if that's how they wanted to do it? Why just make it 2 huge movies?
Agreed. So that's a shame to me. Like, I don't know. Maybe they want to think of the episodes as
Nancy
movies.
And Steve already. Steve's awesome. Steve's the best character.
Yeah, I actually don't want Steve to. Oops, I don't want Steve to die.
Steve's awesome.
Is there anyone I really want to die? I don't know. Will didn't have so much to do this season 4, that's for sure. But he cries sometimes, so that's nice.
It seemed like the Will and Mike.
No, Icky, he does.
Dustin's storyline. No, it was Dustin. Maybe Dustin wasn't there. Maybe it was just the Will and Mike storyline was kind of forgotten about.
Yeah, I mean, just finish the whole thing, though, and then we should talk about it in depth, because I feel like we're at a disadvantage here. I agree with, was it Dementia that said the deaths are too predictable? They are. Like, from seasons 2 through 4, they're determined to kill one character at the end, you know? And it's like, but you can see it coming. And
yeah. Well, yeah, it's not... I've never held Stranger Things in super high esteem. It's popular, but that doesn't mean it's good.
I will say I think it's good, but it could be better, of course. But I mean, considering how bad a lot of Netflix content is, Tyler, it does rise above a lot of that stuff. I mean, you know, there's
good as that one where she's a zombie and she lives in Hollywood or something. I can't remember what that's called.
I don't know which one that is.
She eats people.
Bob Jones says release as a 12-hour movie. No, I think building in breaks is important. Okay, how much more do we have? Okay, we're going to go for another 10 or 12 minutes. So we talked about Stranger Things, Miss Marvel, which... Okay, without being spoilery, it might be hard to do, but what did you think of the after credits sequence?
I mean, I think your description it was fine. It was interesting. It didn't say anything. I assume it's setting something up.
Yes. And there's articles that tell you that, oh, by the way, it was shot by a different director. It's like, yeah, I believe that. But
Like,
it's
there's
so...
like a 6-second scene.
Yeah, I mean, it's so short that people were calling it a bombshell. I'm like, that's not a bombshell to me. It was just like, it's too... It kind of reminded me of what I hear about the after credits scene for Morbius, actually.
But yeah, I've seen that. Now let's talk about good movies. Let's get into Morbius for a couple hours.
Well, Morbius on Vudu has been on sale for $10 the last week or two, but I can't bring myself to buy it. It's like paying someone $10 to kick you in the junk.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, like, I have a morbid curiosity, but I would have to have somebody to watch it with besides just Brandy, like watching it with a group of friends and we're all laughing. And,
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't pay any amount to watch it. It's worth watching for fun, for free, if it's streamable for free somewhere, you know, at some point.
Yeah, maybe free I could handle. Well, Dementia, I haven't seen it, but no one likes
Oh, it's out on Stars. If you have Stars,
We do not.
those 12 people that have Stars are going to in for a good movie.
Was Stars the channel that made American Gods, or was that Showtime?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, maybe it was Showtime. I can't remember.
No, Stars had the
yeah.
Evil Dead series. That's what it was.
Morbius is that bad. It's bad. Very bad.
Yeah, firstly,
Unlikable.
he's a comic character that no one cares about. Like, nobody particularly likes Morbius. He's just a little side character who shows up sometimes. And then you got him played by Jared Leto, who everyone hates. Like, I don't understand why they cast him in anything. Like, people do not like him. So that's a bad combination to start with. But then it has all the problems that, like, the Venom movies have, but it doesn't manage to have, from what I understand, the likable humor or whatever.
Yeah, likable, yeah. Like a lot of... Who's it? Channing Tatum? What's his name in Venom?
Eddie Brock. No, I don't...
Yeah, whoever plays that guy. Paul Hardy. Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, there you go.
Yeah. It doesn't have the Tom Hardy to make up for the crappy pacing and the stupid writing and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, everything I've heard about the writing is awful, and it sounds like one of those things where the execs meddled with it constantly and such. So, what a mess of a movie, from what I hear.
Yeah, it sucks. Matt Smith is horrible.
Poor
Like
Matt
the whole thing is bad.
You know, he said that he didn't understand what was going on in the movie, so in interviews. So, you know, he can be a good actor, but maybe he was miscast. But also, it just doesn't, like, if the script doesn't grab the actors, that doesn't exactly help them turn in a good performance.
True. We didn't talk about Thor.
Oh, Thor 4. Okay, yeah, Thor 4. More Thor.
Thor 4 Thor.
Okay, so Thor 4 is a bit of a divisive movie. Like, people aren't hating it, but not everyone loves it. What'd you think?
I think it's the third best Thor movie that I've seen.
So, better than Dark World, but worse than the other two?
Yes.
You're probably right.
It didn't take enough time to look at like any part of the movie. Like, and it's not that I wanted the movie to be 4 hours long, but they should have cut some stuff in order to make some other stuff actually interesting or well analyzed.
For instance, Jane Foster's storyline, would you say it doesn't have enough time devoted to it?
Not nearly enough time to it.
Yeah, we finally beat a level again.
I mean,
Good luck,
I don't particularly love Jane Foster. She was actually fine in this.
Yeah, I thought she did really well with what she had.
Yeah, but I actually, yeah, better than I expected. Um, and I like that. Like, I don't think it's too much of a spoiler to say she's introduced in the movie relatively early as Mighty Thor.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that it wasn't like a last act surprise or something like that.
Agreed, although it sounds like it was pretty cool in the comics. Like, she was around for a few years before they revealed who she was. Like, that would be a very interesting way to do it, but really hard to do that, firstly, in live action, and secondly, when people have already read the comic.
Yep. Well, and to have, like, Thor not know who she is, because she has a quarter of her face covered with a mask, or whatever.
Yeah, in comics you can buy that, but in real life, not so much.
Yeah. But yeah, her storyline didn't go. I mean, you couldn't be brought to really care about it because it didn't have any time.
I liked her storyline, but it needed more for sure.
Yeah.
So what'd you think of the villain, Gore the God Butcher?
He needed way more time. I didn't care about him at all.
I thought Bale gave a good performance.
Yeah, Bale did a good job. Pretty good job.
Especially at the beginning.
Yeah, at the beginning, but that's the only time he ever had a chance to do anything.
Sadly, yes.
You didn't even get to see him be evil. All you did was hear about it.
Yes, that's the weirdest thing.
There's a guy going around killing people. He's bad. Yeah. Oh, he's so bad.
Yeah, he's Gore the God Butcher, and we see him kill exactly one god on screen.
Yes.
Yeah, like, how could they not have a little montage of him killing people, or at least just a scene of him killing one?
Right, exactly. Let's see what everyone else is saying.
Yeah, how do they feel?
Yeah, Low Sweet. I mean, there's obviously... Low Sweet says that it's not just Thor, it's just this Marvel phase that characters don't have the staying power of Iron Man and Captain America for movies. I think that's true. There's a lack of cohesion that we've gotten so used to in the Marvel movies. Like, every movie from, really early mid phase 2, like, had a point going towards the end of the the whole Infinity War and Endgame and stuff, and there really doesn't feel like that right now, and so they do feel really disjoined
a bit. Yeah.
And darker player, which, we won't talk about that. It's not a spoiler, but what's up with Jane Foster in the movie?
Oh, her condition?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we shouldn't talk about it too much other than saying that it did need more time to it. But, I mean, it's weird. Like, I enjoyed it a fair deal. Like, I guess it's so fast-moving, but, it's also very, very green screeny and not particularly well staged, like...
Yeah, I think the Thor movies always struggle with that a little bit, because so much of it is set in, like, realms where it's, like, way different than on Earth or anything.
Yeah, and they use the volume a lot in this one, which the volume, in case everyone didn't know, is Disney's green screen solution, which is better than a regular green screen. Like, it looks better for sure, but it still doesn't overcome the fact that they're not really there on a real set a lot of the time. But yeah, just as an example of problems in the movie, early in the movie when Gore the God Butcher acquires his weapon and becomes evil, like, it's just all right there in front of him. It's not like there's some interesting sequence of events that leads up to it. It's just like, oh, off to the side, there's that thing. And he's like, yeah, okay, I guess I'm bad now. I don't know. Like, they could have done that in a way more interesting way.
Yeah. Well, and like, he's mad at the gods because they betrayed him and stuff. And, like, you see it for, like, 3 minutes at the beginning. Like, cool, yeah, I guess. I don't know who this guy is, and then he's mad at the gods.
Yeah, this one god certainly let him down big time.
Yeah, and so he's mad at all of them, and...
Yeah, I don't know.
But, I mean, it's also even... I don't think it's a spoiler. Like, he's mad at the gods because his daughter dies, and that happens right at the beginning of the movie. But, like, you don't get to see him with his daughter, and that they have a nice connection, or that they have a relationship of any kind. It's hard to care.
It's a classic Mallrats problem. Tyler, have you seen Mallrats?
Yeah, what's wrong with it?
Well, in Mallrats, the main character, TC, spends the whole movie trying to get back together with his girlfriend, right? but we never got to know them as a couple to where
as a couple, as to like why he would want to get, like, you don't have it, you're not invested in him getting back with her.
Yeah, exactly. She's gorgeous, but that's all there is. So it is like that. Hey, yeah, I have Nitro.
The jokes didn't land as well either at Dementia, I don't think. I liked
a lot of them.
The tone felt more off to me. Like, it was like Ragnarok is just ridiculously silly. Like, they really push the limits of like trying to make this movie not just be a complete joke. But then there's like actual serious stuff happening in Love and Thunder, and so it kind of throws the tone off a little bit when there's just like ridiculously stupid things happening too.
Yeah, like I don't think Taika Waititi can handle that kind of stuff that well, at least in the context of Marvel. Like Jojo Rabbit does deal with some sad things pretty well, but it's like in this one, it's like they're just always doing so much improv and stuff, and it doesn't let the serious stuff come out enough.
Yeah, it's a weird tone for me. Like I haven't seen Jojo Rabbit. I've heard it's really good. It sounds like something that I'd really like.
Yeah,
but it's meant to be completely like ridiculous. Like the concept of it is ridiculous, right? Isn't it like about Hitler in a musical or something like that?
Yeah, a kid has a young German boy has Hitler as an imaginary friend, played by Taika Waititi.
It's just kind of a ludicrous concept to start with.
Yeah, it is, and it's a concept that will automatically offend people sometimes. But anyway,
right. And whereas Thor still needs to tell a Marvel story, for the masses. It can't just have this kind of like ludicrous concept. Although at times Ragnarok does. Like Ragnarok is ridiculous at times.
Yeah, definitely. I thought Ragnarok had tonal problems as well. I guess I would say maybe just the story comes together a little better here, or it's just that Ragnarok was a little better shot, staged and directed and everything.
Yeah. I mean, Ragnarok doesn't have a great story. It's just so much fun, in my opinion. Like,
very propulsive.
It's just it's enjoyable from start to finish.
One thing that this one has that Ragnarok doesn't, Ragnarok casually kills off 3 important Thor characters and just acts like it's nothing,
So
it doesn't do that.
It doesn't do that, but it's missing 2 awesome characters from the previous Thor movies. At least 2.
Malekith?
Yes,
no.
Malekith.
No,
that's him.
Okay.
But no, like, I mean, Loki, there's a reason Loki is an absolute fan favorite. Like, I mean, this movie is missing Loki.
Yeah, you're right. I can't believe they didn't work him in with a cameo or something.
It would have been, I thought, and maybe it's a spoiler to say that there's not a cameo, but he doesn't show up, unfortunately.
Well, you don't want people going in hoping to see him and then be disappointed that he's not there. It's kind of better to know, no, don't hope for that.
Valkyrie, what a complete waste of space and screen time she was.
She didn't have much to do in this one.
Nothing at all. I know, and she's good. She's great in Ragnarok. She's one of the most fun, depressing fun parts of Ragnarok.
Tessa Thompson.
Yes.
Championship. So there's a
Heimdall's also a favorite. It's still cool. He's not as funny, but he's still cool. And he's gone now too because of, I think that was Endgame or Infinity War that actually killed him. But
is it spoiler to talk about the kids? I guess we shouldn't talk about the kids too much, but I mean, you get to know some Asgardian children.
Oh, there's some Asgardian kids. I don't think that's a spoiler.
Yeah, so they're, at least one of those Asgardian kids gets a decent amount of time, although still could have used more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're trying to set up one thing the Phase has been doing, including wow, I messed that up so bad. One thing this Phase has been doing, including the TV shows, is like setting up the potential for young Avengers. So I think this movie does do that a little too, giving you some young characters who could come back for things.
Interesting. I don't know any of the details to that. Like, I kind of intentionally don't put too much in. Like, I don't research where this might be going, stuff like that. I kind of like it to be surprises and stuff.
Gotcha.
Which I mean,
Wow.
you can talk about it. I don't know what the younger Avengers are, so that doesn't
just-
bug me at all. But
It's like Teen Titans, you know. It's just a group of younger heroes, and you know they've got like a love-hate relationship with the older ones, with the real Avengers, etc. But for instance, you know the girl Hawkeye, she's in the Young Avengers.
cool.
And
I like her.
Yeah,
Kate Bishop.
yeah, she's great. They could put the new Black Widow in it if they wanted, but the oh wow, I just cannot handle that turn.
Wow,
Anyway.
you're really struggling.
Yeah, the Winter Soldier show, Falcon and Winter Soldier, it sets up one or two different characters who are Young Avengers in the comics. Isaiah Bradley or something like that, yeah. So, I mean, but a lot of these things have been at least introducing those characters. Ant-Man's daughter also, who is now a teenager, she's a Young Avenger. So, I think even Thor 4 seems to at least be, you know, contributing towards that, perhaps. But I mean, they're not for instance, there's no scenes where you're oh, they're trying to recruit young people or something to where the general audience would be aware or care about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, so it's something that I think is definitely happening, and I look forward to it. But also, yeah, it's not being done in a way that builds hype.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what the cohesiveness of these stories are yet, if there is going to be any. And it doesn't have to exist, but after coming from phase 3 of the MCU, which was really a lot of fun, it's kind of rough.
Agreed. We should go ahead and wrap things up. I can't drive anymore, Tyler.
Yeah, I see that. What did you think about the scene? There's clearly a real big crowd-pleasing scene in the middle of the movie.
Where you see someone's butt?
Yes.
Well, I mean, that was ballsy for a Marvel movie to do, and it did have a really good joke that followed it up.
Oh, not just the butt scene, though. That whole
part?
Yeah.
Well, again, super green screeny. I mean, it's the volume, but it's not in a real place. There's a bunch of gods in that scene, and why doesn't Gore show up and say kill a bunch of them to make him a real threat? Wouldn't it have been perfect?
Poor Gore doesn't get to do anything.
Yeah, gosh, I don't know why. But who else? I did like the movie's version of Zeus. Did you like him?
He was okay.
Real funny
kind
accent.
Of over the top. Yeah,
Over
real
the top,
funny
for sure.
accent. I don't know what the heck. Is that like a bad Greek accent is what they're going for?
I guess it's supposed to be bad, but
I don't know if it's supposed to be bad or not, but I think it is. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, there were interesting things happening in that scene, but it was just done in such a green screeny, maybe even improv heavy kind of way that it doesn't meet its potential.
Yeah, I do wonder, you mentioned improv. I wonder how much of the movie is improv, because it could have used some, if it could have used some better jokes that were scripted instead of just
or just more
actors to carry it.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a similar problem, not quite the same, but a similar problem to the 2016 Ghostbusters movie, you know, Answer the Call. Everybody's silly. Everybody's silly, right? So, it's just too much silliness and too much improv and ad-libbing. We need to have more serious characters who are
There needs
silly.
to be a straight man. There needs to be a straight man to make the silliness work better.
Yeah, and there is no straight man unless you consider Gore a straight man. But on the hero side, there's no straight man. So
no, there's not.
Yeah. So, and again, I think Taika Waititi is the problem with that. Even though
I think so. I like him too, but
he's just too silly.
It kind of makes Ragnarok feel more like a fluke that it worked than that he's right for the Marvel world.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that, and I hope they don't give him another. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't need to see a Thor 5 with him at the helm.
Yeah, and this is funny because I mean we're being so critical. It makes it sound like I hate Thor 4, but I like it okay. It's an okay time. It's more enjoyable than Eternals or even Shang-Chi for me. But still, a lot of obvious problems, and that's why people are so divided over it.
Definitely better than Eternals. I think I'd probably watch it again over Shang-Chi as well.
Yeah.
Although I think Shang-Chi is probably a better movie storytelling wise.
Percentage-wise, for sure. It's just that Shang-Chi, again, once they get to the mystical land, for me it falls apart there. You know, not everybody feels that way.
Yeah, you hate that. Yeah. Yeah, Taika Waititi is actually horrible in that movie. I agree with you, Alejandro. In Free Guy.
Is he?
It's called Free Guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like just a complete overactor, and like I don't know what they're going for, but it doesn't work at all.
What kind of character is he playing?
Movie. Just like a ridiculous, like, software developer guy that's like super big-headed and stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I realized it was him, and I was like, wow, this is fiercely unenjoyable. Yeah, the CEO of the company.
I see. Interesting. Man, I'm still
yeah,
six.
I mean, I've soured on him a bit, but I heard that, you know, maybe he just needs to find what works for him, because like Jojo Rabbit was nominated for Academy Awards and stuff like that.
Yeah, and maybe I would say in general, perhaps he needs someone to rein him in. Like maybe he's getting too much creative control.
Right, exactly. I think that's likely correct.
Yeah, because clearly he mostly wants to be silly, and he's not interested in drama for the most part.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I mean, I would say that Thor. Like, I mean, it's not as good as. It's obviously not as good as Doctor Strange. It's not as good as Spider-Man. It's better than Eternals. Trying to think of a good comparison. Ant-Man 2, maybe.
Huh. I don't know. Does Ant-Man 2 have a lot of problems, or does it just not... I don't know. Yeah.
This doesn't excel in anything.
Yeah, it doesn't excel in any way.
I don't think Ant-Man 2 has a lot of problems, no. And I mean, I think we are being a little bit critical. Maybe our expectations were too high for Thor.
Because Ragnarok is pretty special.
Yeah, Ragnarok's great. And maybe the problems are outshining some of the better moments of Thor. And we're focusing on those. It's very average. It's not bad.
Wow, I was winning.
It's certainly not great.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, then you got caught behind that thing.
Yeah, those stupid signs. The way you latch onto them, you should be able to push them around or something. I still came in second somehow. I don't know how that works, but hey, I'll take it. Yeah, but guys, I do recommend you see Thor 4 if you go in expecting it to be just okay. Like, if you expect it to be as good as Ragnarok, you'll definitely be terribly disappointed.
Yes.
But if you're okay with it being just an okay, fun time, then I bet you'll still have some fun with it. There's fun parts, for sure. It just doesn't necessarily add up to greatness.
Let's remember who had all sorts of questions about the quality of the movie when the trailers came out.
Oh, no.
That's right. That was me.
Oh, my God.
I got it right. I called it. I need to...
Yeah, credit where credit is due here, Tyler. You did call it.
I called it.
Yeah, I was like, again, you see these little individual scenes and they're fine, and I'm thinking, okay, it will add up to Ragnarok again, but it just wasn't able to do so. But again, I think there's more over-reliance on maybe people not being in the same room sometimes, or at least just way too much people in the volume and not enough people in real sets and things. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. I was watching an interview. Oh, it was an interview with Elizabeth Olsen, and...
Yeah, she said she hadn't met the guest characters in Doctor Strange.
She hadn't met someone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, who was it? I mean, I don't know that you can say it because it might be a spoiler. I don't even remember who it was. Is it a spoiler character?
Well, we can say the actor.
Oh, okay. I don't think that's a spoiler. Everyone's seen that at this point.
Yeah, if you don't know it by now, you're deliberately avoiding knowing anything about the movie months after it's been released. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, what? And then even the interviewer was like, you're in a scene with him in your movie. And she's like, I've never met him.
Yeah, and
like, that's weird. Yeah. And it makes you wonder how much of that really happens.
So, it's a shame. And this movie felt the same way at times, for sure.
Interesting. Yeah. Definitely possible.
So
there was a good cameo, a return cameo that was quite funny.
Are you thinking of the stuff in New Asgard or something else?
Yes, in New Asgard.
I liked that stuff too, yes.
Yeah.
Did you like the, Oh, sorry, go on.
I was just saying that joke in Ragnarok.
Following up on something good.
Yeah, Ragnarok. It's fantastic, yeah.
Agreed. And the new person who cameos in that part, that was quite amusing, I thought.
It was interesting, yeah.
Yes. And by the way, I don't think Hela is... I still don't like Hela very much. You know, like, Ragnarok is a good movie, but Hela is not a well-developed character. She's way different from the comics, even though she looks cool. And her powers
look cool.
yeah, her powers are kind of lame. All she does is throw spikes, like, every time, you know? So it's like, she never does anything interesting and creative. So, I don't like her much, but maybe it's just because she's such a jerk and she kills 3 Thor characters that I care about. You know, like, that bugs me.
So the next Marvel is She-Hulk, and that looks not good either.
Icky, watch the Bumblebee movie. The Bumblebee movie is the most recent one, but it is very good. It's much better than even the first Transformers. So
don't give up on Bumblebee, Icky.
Yeah, for real. Like, I know a lot of them were bad, but Michael Bay was not involved with Bumblebee, so that's how you know it's gonna be better.
Kind of, yeah. It feels a lot like another origin story, because she doesn't, like, know what Bumblebee is or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. So it's a partial reboot or whatever. I forget what they call it when they do that, but Icky's not into Bumblebee. I mean, you don't have to be into him sexually, Icky. He's...
Bumblebee is kind of like this character.
Yeah, I mean, he's more... For some reason, he's more relatable than Optimus Prime. I don't know if it's because in the newer movies they make Optimus Prime like a bloodthirsty monster. But, like, Bumblebee's kind of lovable. He's got a little bit of the, like, Gizmo, Baby Yoda kind of aspect to him. Just a little bit. Would you agree?
Yeah. He's the Grogu of Transformers.
For reals. But also the robots, including Bumblebee, look so much better than in the Michael Bay movies. Like, Optimus Prime is there and he looks perfect, and the other characters that are in there mostly look like real Transformers, and I love that about it. But I'm a big Transformers fan. Or I used to be. Weird. Icky says he likes Transformers 2 better than Bumblebee. I think maybe he doesn't remember Transformers 2 very well.
Yeah, he's forgetting Devastator's balls.
Yeah. Devastator's balls, the racist robots, and so much more.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah, and I mean, just the plot. You know, that's where the plot started to not make a ton of sense, you know, like to have too little thought put into them.
Yeah.
And Bumblebee does not have that problem. Like,
no Megan Fox? Is she not even in the second one?
I thought she was in the second, is she not?
I thought she was. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was like 3 when she left. When Sam goes to college and there's a pretender transformer. That's part 3, as I recall. Yeah, okay, there. She was in part 2. Okay.
Maybe saying she's not in Bumblebee or something. But Haley, whatever, she's a Bumblebee. She's cute enough to look at.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, and plus she's actually like a real actress and not somebody...
Yeah, she's not bad.
She doesn't look like a stripper. She looks like just a pretty lady. Pretty young lady.
I think Hawkeye was better than Miss Marvel.
Really?
Yeah.
Right now I don't, but I did like Hawkeye a lot.
Yeah, I liked Hawkeye. Hawkeye like snuck up on me as being really good.
Was it because of the character you didn't think it was going to be that good, or?
Yeah, exactly. Like, who cares about Hawkeye? And Jeremy Renner, I mean, like he's very. He's not my favorite actor. He's a very blah actor.
He didn't, in the previous stories, he just didn't have very much to do. So give him more to do, and it seems like he can rise to the occasion.
But I've seen him in other stuff too, and I don't particularly like him.
Like that Bourne spinoff?
No, but he's in The Town, I think, and I thought he was pretty blah in that. I didn't see the Bourne spinoff.
Me neither. Not familiar with that one. Yeah, I'm not in last place again. Oh, yeah, the flying kick, thank you. We normally finish a lot earlier. We're just kind of rambling on because Tyler wanted to. But thank you so much for tuning into our stream. For people who are just tuning in, let me remind you that Saturday Game School takes place every Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. We always stream a different game, and we usually give out free copies of that game. So it's a fun way to see what's out there. And this is not a game that we might have otherwise known about if we hadn't happened across it, if the publisher hadn't offered to give us codes and stuff. And it was a lot of fun, despite the controller issue, which hurt the fun a little bit. We've been streaming Mechanic Battle for Nintendo Switch. It's a Nintendo Switch exclusive. It's only $10, and it's pretty fun. It's got a little bit of mechanic stuff to it, but like no more than your average racing game, I would say. So
mostly just like the micro machines style racer.
Yeah, and it looks good enough, especially for a Switch game. It looks pretty good, and yeah, it was fun. So, yeah, thanks a lot to the publisher for providing these codes. That's Mobile Way and Ultimate Games. Thank you, Tyler, for co-hosting tonight.
Yep, happy to be here.
Thanks to Icky for running the contest. He is such a great help, and we appreciate it. Thanks to our subscribers for paying to keep the stream going. That is an immense help, too, and we always appreciate you guys. But thanks to all of you for hanging out with us. We love you guys. It's great seeing you. We'll catch you next Saturday. And remember, don't hate, appreciate.
See you guys. Well, that ought to hold those little SOBs. Hold them for another week.
Those car-loving SOBs.
Bunch of car-loving SOBs.
Let's say bye to our friends. We have a new friend, the Flying Kick. Very awesome. Alejandro is here. I love when he turns up. Who else, Tyler? Who'd you see?
Saw Heaven Smile. I saw Bob Jones.
Yay!
Dementia was chatting a lot.
Yeah, we love to hear from him. BX Latino Heat. Don't forget him.
For sure.
Jono and Brownmeister. Yeah, Darker
Did we say Heaven Smile?
We said Heaven Smile. We could never forget him.